Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Bonachari. Jamuna Tira Bonachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jasura Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Bonachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Sisi Radha Madhava ki, Sisi Radha Giridhari ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramhamsa Parivrajika Jashodhara Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Sabai Charanara Vinda Bhaktivedanta Swami, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramhamsa Parivrajika Jashodhara Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai, Nantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories assembled devotees, all glories assembled devotees, all glories, Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Bhakti Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vacharane Nivashesha Shanyavari Vasyatya Shatarane. So this morning we're reading from the 7th canto, 10th chapter, text 40. The chapter is entitled Prahlad, the Best Among Exalted Devotees. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 640. Yata yata bhagavato bhaktya paramaya abhida bhaktya paramaya abhida nripa. Now let's see here. King chadya adaya satmyam nripaschadhyadaya satmyam haris touch chintaya yayuhu haris touch chintaya yahu. And people go Yahoo, right? And it's back home, back to God. It says Yahoo, Yahoo, right? So he's back. It's right here. Returned home, back to God. That's where that comes from. Trace it all back to the Sanskrit language. Yahoo! Back home, back to God. And there it is. It's right here in our verse today. Yata yata bhagavato bhaktya paramaya bida nripaschadhyadaya satmyam haristach chintaya yahu yata yata bhagavato bhaktya paramaya bida nripaschadhyadaya satmyam haristach chintaya yahu yata yata bhagavato bhaktya paramaya bida nripaschadhyadaya satmyam haristach chintaya yahu. Please chant.
Yatha yatha bhagavato bhaktya paramaya vida nripaschadhyadaya satmyam haristach chintaya yahu
Yata yata bhagavato bhaktya paramaya vida
Nripaschadhyadaya satmyam haristach chintaya yahu bhagavato bhaktya paramaya vida Anyone else? Nripaschadhyadaya satmyam haristach chintaya yahu yata yata just as Bhagavataha of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Bhaktya by devotional service Paramaya supreme Abhida incessantly thinking of such activities Nripaha kings Chaidya Adaya Shishupal, Dantavakra and others Satmyam the same form Hare of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Tachintaya by constantly thinking of Him Yayuhu returned home back to Godhead. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. By devotional service, pure devotees who incessantly think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead receive bodies similar to His. This is known as Swarupya Mukti. Although Shishupal, Dantavakra, and other kings thought of Krishna as an enemy, they also achieved the same result. Purport. In Caitanya-caritāmṛta, in connection with Lord Caitanya's instructions to Sanātana Gosvāmī, it is explained that a devotee should externally execute his routine devotional service in a regular way, but should always inwardly think of the particular mellow in which he is attracted to the service of the Lord. This constant thought of the Lord makes the devotee eligible to return home back to Godhead. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 9th verse, Tvaktadeham punar janma naiti mam eti, so Arjuna. After giving up his body, a devotee does not again receive a material body, but goes back to Godhead and receives a spiritual body resembling those of the Lord's eternal associates whose activities he followed. However, the devotee likes to serve the Lord. He may constantly think of the Lord's associates, the cowherd boys, the gopis, the Lord's father and mother, His servants, and the trees, land, animals, plants, and water, and the Lord's abode. Because of constantly thinking of these features, one acquires a transcendental position. Kings like Shishupal, Dantavakra, Kamsa, Pondraka, Narakasura, and Salva were all similarly delivered. This is confirmed by Madhvacharya. Pondrake, Narake, Chaiva, Salve, Kamse, Charukmini. Avishtastu Harer Bhaktas, Tad Bhaktya Harim Apire. Pondraka, Narakasura, Salva, Kamsa, and Kamsa were all inimical toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but because all these kings constantly thought of Him, they achieved the same liberation, Surpya Mukti. The Jnana Bhakta, the devotee who follows the path of Gyan, also attains the same destination. If even the enemies of the Lord achieve salvation by constantly thinking about the Lord, what is to be said of pure devotees who always engage in the Lord's service and who think of nothing but the Lord in every activity? It's a question. Prabhupada's asking that question. It's a question mark at the end there. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unminitam Dena Taismai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Caitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Tadati Svaha Padantikam Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sri Gaur Bhakti Barinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchika Patarupascha Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Translation again. By devotional service, pure devotees who incessantly think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead receive bodies similar to His. This is known as Swarupya Mukti. Although Shishupal, Dantavakra, and other kings thought of Krishna as an enemy, they also achieved the same result. So we're getting pretty close to the end of this chapter in this particular narration, Narada Muni. And so one of the main features of this chapter, or chapters, the whole account of Prahlad Maharaj and the Shringadev and Jai and Vijay's fall and their different births and so on, is to highlight, for lack of a better word at the moment, the Lord's mercy. He is so kind. Do we feel the same way when people treat us nicely or people are inimical to us? Right? If I come up to you and say, Prabhu, that was such a wonderful offering this morning. And tomorrow I go, Prabhu, that was the worst offering I've ever had in my life. So are you going to feel the same both days? No. So it's quite interesting here that Krishna is saying, the verses that Krishna, as far as he's concerned, that pure devotees who incessantly think of the Supreme Personality of God receive bodies similar to His, so they get that Supreme Mukti. But We have asuras, demons, these demoniac kings that are mentioned here, Shishupal, Dantavakra, the list goes on, Narakasura, Salva, Kamsa. They also achieve the same result. Now, how's that possible? How's that possible? Yes, the intensity, that's the word here, as paramaya abhida, incessantly thinking of such activities. So, that's the key there, because they were so absorbed in the thought of Krishna, even though as an enemy, it's not recommended, Prabhupada brings that out when he discusses this point, it's not recommended that one develops his animosity towards Krishna, but these particular personalities, they're thinking of Krishna, complete absorption of Krishna, just like we read in the 10th canto about Kamsa, day and night, day and night. And why was he thinking about Krishna? Yeah, imagine that. If I told you that in 2 weeks, Sankarshan's going to kill you. Are you going to think of Sankarshan for 2 weeks? Look over your shoulder. Right? It's like you're going to, something's going to, It's like sometimes astrologers, they tell people, there's an omen, very soon, death will come. Like, oh no, what am I supposed to do? Like that. Yeah, what's going to happen to me? So Kamsa, from the moment he heard that, he was saying, Krishna, 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 Krishna. How am I going to get rid of Krishna? Because Krishna is the cause of my death. And then they heard that, Krishna's in Vrindavan. They started sending demons, practically speaking, every day. A daily attempt to thwart his fate. Who can I send to kill Krishna, 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 Krishna? And then when Krishna finally arrived in Mathura, you can imagine how intense his Krishna consciousness was. At first he said, send this big elephant, Kuvalayapida? Kuvalayapida. That's what that means, lotus crusher? That's a wonderful name for an elephant. If you ever have an elephant, call it lotus crusher. So, and Krishna and Balaram just took the elephant out. Right? And then they went on to because he was invited for this big wrestling match. He thought, the last resort is I'll smash him, and I'll get him smashed by Chanura and Mushtika and so on. But he had this big bow there, as part of the whole celebration and everything. Krishna Balaram just killed all the guards, went in there and just broke the bow. They cracked it in half, and they used that to kill the guards. So here's Kamsa thinking, wait a second, they just showed up in the city, they killed my lotus-crushing elephant, who no one could defeat, and they just broke that bow, which is impossible, killed so many guards. So I was thinking, Krishna, 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 Krishna's coming to get me, Krishna's coming to get me. And all these inauspicious omens, holes in his shadow, and he was, I think, being carried in a cart naked, no reflection, like that, and being carried in a cart naked by donkeys or something like that. So if you ever have these dreams, watch out, because it means the end is coming soon. But he was so intense in his Krishna consciousness, and that's what purified him. That's what purified him. They're more intense. So I guess one lesson from here, as you just brought up, is the intensity of our Krishna consciousness. We have to think about it. How intense are we about Krishna consciousness? And it's a symptom of the purity of the heart. Even in the material world, if someone's not so intense about enjoying life, they bring him to a psychiatrist, right? What's wrong with my son? What's wrong with my daughter? He's not interested in anything. And it's a symptom of this day and age. People are just they're just on their device all day long, just looking at it. I'm just using an example. You see people, their cell phone, and they just like lethargic, don't do anything. They always complain kids don't play sports anymore. Everyone's become a lot. They can't. So everyone's, it's actually becoming more and more, even mode of passion's missing. So many people, they're just not passionate about anything. It's a big problem. They're not enthusiastic to work or to get a job or education. They're just kind of dull. Mode of ignorance is taking over. So where's that intensity? So have to be very careful. Of course, and in the mode of goodness, actually, we think the mode of goodness is just, no problem. But actually, real mode of goodness for a devotee, in that goodness, is very intense. Devotional service takes place because his mind is completely free from all of these distractions in the material world. And he can focus it very, very nicely on Krishna. In fact, until we come to the mode of goodness, we really can't focus very well in Krishna consciousness because our minds are always disturbed by ignorance and passion and whatever that may be, the pullings and so on. So the sooner we come to that platform, the better. Now, in the beginning of the purport, Prabhupada refers to this Lord Chaitanya's instructions to Sanātana Gosvāmī. Now, they're referring to a very advanced platform of Krishna consciousness here, that devotees should execute their routine devotional service in the regular way. You know what that refers to? Our day-to-day activities of hearing and chanting and seva at the temple and book distribution, so whatever it may be, our service. But at the same time, inwardly think of the particular mellow in which he is attracted to the service of the Lord. And he's talking about thinking and meditating on the residents of Vrindavan. And in other words, it's being revealed to one by the mercy of Guru and Krishna what their eternal rasa is. And one starts feeling anxious for that position in the spiritual world and meditating on whatever that rasa may be and those associates there. Even to the point of meditating, it says here, on the trees, the land, animals, and plants and water. One may have an aspiration to be a tree in Vrindavan, or a plant, or the water. Yeah, Kalpavriksha tree. So it's constantly thinking. And what's described here is this verse from Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame divyam evam yovati tattvata. Veti tattvataha, this tvaktva deham punarjanmaya. Tvakta means you give up this body. Naiti means you don't get another punarjanma. You don't get another birth. What happens to you? Do you become zero? You cease to exist? No. You get a spiritual body in the spiritual world and you don't come back. So this is the process of Krishna consciousness, hearing and chanting, remembering, smaranam, this developing the purity, and then by constant meditation on the Lord, well, that's where we're going to go. Our external world follows our internal world. You've heard that before. As within, so without. You heard this over and over again. So we know exactly where we're going by examining what's going on inside of us, what's going on up here. That's just the way it is. So that's the way it is. So that's not only true in the material world, but that's what is it? Caitanya-caritāmṛta calls it the law of the last thought. Yeah, he uses that expression. That verse from 8 Caitanya-caritāmṛta, and that when he's on a little purport on that verse from the 8th chapter. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavan. Whatever you think about, that's where you go. So it's called the law of the last thought. It's one of the laws of nature. Are you familiar with that law of nature? Everyone knows about gravity, this, that, and the other thing. There's something called the law of the last thought. And whatever we're thinking of at the time of death, that's where we go. That's where we go. So cultivating this intensity, and of course, yeah, this could be your last thought. What is it they say? We don't have the luxury of one negative thought. Ever heard that expression? We don't have the luxury of one negative thought. Because whatever we're thinking about, it affects our consciousness. So one has to always be very positive. And real positive thinking is thinking of Krishna. One of these books on positive thinking. It's just all the mental platform. Just kind of like readjust your mind. Be positive about life. Yes, that was a classic by, I forget his name. That was an old one. The power of positive thinking. Just got to think positive, No matter what happens to you in the material world, you just got to think positive about life. Well, guess who's going to win? Time and the material nature. So, but real positive is we have something very positive that's become going back home, back to Godhead. Now, in here, it's described how even demons attain the Krishna is so kind, as we began in the class. Samaham Sarvabhuteshu. Krishna is equal to all living entities, and he gives everyone the opportunity for devotional service. And he's very, very, very kind. And there's a verse I wanted to refer to, famous verse by Uddhava in the 3rd canto. And he's describing about Krishna's position as being so, so merciful. It says here, I'll just read the English. Alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he who granted the position of mother to a she-demon, Putana, although she was faithless, has been corrected in the new edition, who was faithless, and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breasts. Here is an example of the extreme mercy of the Lord, even to his enemy. It is said that a noble man accepts the good qualities of a person of doubtful character, just as one accepts nectar from a stalk of poison. In his babyhood, he was administered deadly poison by Putana, a she-demon who tried to kill the wonderful baby. And because she was a demon, it was impossible for her to know that the Supreme Lord, even though playing the part of a baby, was no less than that of the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. His value as the Supreme Lord did not diminish upon his becoming a baby to please his devotee Yashoda. The Lord may assume the form of a baby or a shape other than that of a human being, but it doesn't make the slightest difference. He's always the Supreme Person. A living creature, however powerful he may become by dint of severe penance, can never become equal to the Supreme Lord. Lord Krishna accepted the motherhood of Putana because she pretended to be an affectionate mother. She disguised herself. The example is given as a deadly knife in a decorated sheath. Oh, that's so beautiful, but inside is something that's going to kill you. Okay. So she pretended to be an affectionate mother, allowing Krishna to suck her breast. The Lord accepts the least qualification of the living entity and awards him the highest reward. That should be a t-shirt, right? The Lord accepts the least qualification of the living entity and awards him the highest reward. That is the standard of his character. Therefore, who but the Lord can be the ultimate shelter? So everyone in this room is banking on this. We're all banking on this. Prabhupada says here, extreme. Prabhupada used the word extreme. Example of the extreme mercy of the Lord. Mercy is something, you don't deserve it, but it's given to you. That's what I mean. Like people go to court and they fall upon the mercy of the court, right? When it's all the odds are against them, they say, fall upon the mercy of the court. Help! You know I don't deserve it. I deserve to be sent up the river. Do they have that expression? They have that expression in Russia? Sent up the river. It means go where's that place? Siberia. Up the river, Siberia. You just disappear up the river. So, that's what I deserve. I had the gun in my hand. It was smoking. My DNA is all over the place. It's all, but I fall at the mercy of the court. Maybe the judge will lighten my sentence or forgive. I couldn't help it. What can you expect? So, but mercy means then all of a sudden, even though it's undeserved, there's some kindness granted. So here, Krishna's mercy is extreme. He's so very, very kind to all the jivas. And here's the example. Someone's Putana is coming. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says she represents the false guru. In other words, here she is. She didn't come like Dantavakra, or was it? Dantavakra was the one. Was it Dantavakra? Who was the one who just charged at Krishna with his anger? Was it the one after Shalva was killed or something like that? There's a few of them, but it's on the Bhagavatam. They just like, ah! And they just ran right at Krishna with their sword like, I gotta kill it. They just no pretension or anything like that. I'm gonna kill, just face to face, no pretension. But here's Putana, changes her form. Very, very gorgeous. She looks like Lakshmi herself. And she just kind of saunters in. And, here's this beauty. And they're all thinking, the women in Vrindavan are thinking, man, she's beautiful. Not man, but she's very, very beautiful. Who is this? She looks like Lakshmi herself. And she just comes in. You know, the beautiful woman enters the room. Some good-looking woman just came in this room. Everyone would go like rubbernecking. What? What? You know, that's just the nature of the material energy. Just like immediately you see something beautiful, your eyes are attracted. So she was so beautiful. And imagine how beautiful the residents of Vrindavan are. But she was disguised herself so beautifully to trick them. Because it's disarming when you see someone very pretty or handsome or beautiful. Disarming. There's a book called Influence. I think I just said The Influence. Kaladani is his name. It's a book on marketing. But it talks about different ways you influence people's minds. And people are very, very pretty or handsome. People are tall. People have a uniform on. These different ways that immediately people become disarmed. You know, we're talking about advertising and marketing. There's a whole book on this, just things you can say, and you know. So anyone who's good looking, why do they use good looking people in advertisements? If they're just all ugly people, people wouldn't bother looking at it. It's like, I look better. So anyways, someone beautiful, she disguised herself being so right there cheating. She disguised herself very, very beautiful. And then she, as a mother, now who's supposed to be considered the most kind and considerate and compassionate and person to be honored? Mata, you know? So she pretends to be a mother, you know? And she just comes right in and everyone's, oh yes, oh, go ahead, give him some milk, like that. So,
Disarming.
very, yeah.
Removing or capable of removing hostility, suspicion, etc. Being very, very charming.
Yes. So that was Putana, the false guru, misleading everyone to kill Krishna. And Krishna, he gave a position of like a mother in the spiritual world because the milk. Oh, you're like my mom, a little something to drink. Oh, by the way, kill you. Suck the life out of you. But Krishna didn't see all that. He just saw the good. So that's what's saying here, that is the standard of his character. He accepts the least qualification. The least thing she did was some milk. Had to be some poison all over the place, but didn't see that, right? And you completely bewildered my mom and everyone else, disguised yourself, you know, evil intentions. And actually she was killing other people and children in Vrindavan too. She was a child killer, right? Because they're trying to figure out where Krishna is. So it's not that Krishna was her first victim or attempted victim. But he says the least qualification, and then awards him the highest reward. Back to the spiritual world, a position as a mother in the spiritual world. This is Krishna. So Uddhava was saying, how can you take shelter of anyone other than Krishna? He's so merciful and kind, like that. So let's see here. Yeah, for us, this big drama, Krishna and these demoniac kings, you know, on our level, it's a big, big drama going on, and we see the duality, like we were saying earlier, you know, friend and enemy and this and that. But Krishna, he's completely transcendental to all of that. He's just seeing the soul, and what even a little bit of good Krishna will reciprocate well beyond the wildest imagination. So what does that mean for us? We're not demons. We're devotees, trying to be devotees, like that. Humble devotees, thinking ourselves to be very fallen. But so we're lucky. We're lucky. Sometimes devotees bring up the God of the Old Testament, right? Smoting and smiting everyone, and I am an angry and vengeful God. They quote that. I am an angry and vengeful God. So, but that's the Krishna, not angry or vengeful at anyone. I mean, even he may manifest that. I mean, look kind of angry as Lord Nrsingadev. In fact, they had to pacify him. But that anger was actually an ecstasy. He was protecting his devotee. And he delivered her in Ikashipu. It's all good. Like that. It's all good. There's a t-shirt company. Good days. Or life is good. So it's all good. That's us. It's all good. Like that, Krishna, whatever it is, it's all good. It's all meant for the deliverance of the conditioned souls, the happiness of his devotees, right? Paritarana sadhunam vinashayta duskitam. He destroys the demons, delivers the devotees, dharma samstapanartaya, establishes religious. It's all good. Whatever Krishna does is all good. For our eyes, it may be, oh, this looks horrible. You know, Krishna is inciting Arjuna to fight on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. This is horrible. What kind of God is this? And Krishna is immoral. He's inciting violence. They have so many things they say. They don't understand anything what's going on. They don't understand Krishna's position as the absolute truth, beyond all the dualities of this material world. Those dualities appear simply as pastime to capture our attention, like that, capture our attention. So I'm going to end here because of the time to see if there's any questions or comments, and whether or not there's a little time to talk about my preaching in Scotland.
Thank you, Dharmasetu Prabhu, for that thought-provoking class.
I thought you just said loud, provoking class.
That thought-provoking.
Okay.
So if I had 2 weeks to live before Sankarshana kills me, how should I treat him?
As a messenger from Krishna, and one who's enthusing you to chant better japa. Yes, of course. It's Krishna coming to you. Just like Maharaj Parikshit.
I'm coming.
He was given 1 week to live. And he saw, this is Krishna coming in the form of the little boy, Shringi, and it's Krishna telling me, I've got, I have to become very, very serious in my Krishna consciousness. Like that. Just tell him to go easy on you. Okay?
When I was looking up earlier, I was looking up the omens that Kamsa saw. And because the one that stuck out to me always was the naked man smeared with oil, naked man passing by smeared with oil and wearing a garland of nalada flowers. So anyway, if devotees can look out for that.
Gotta watch out for those.
It also said he couldn't hear the sound of his life air, which I don't know exactly what that means, but it sounds ominous. Yeah. It said he could no longer hear the sound of his life air, yeah.
But that's the big take-home also from this verse and purport is we have to learn to become, what's the word here? Incessantly thinking, intensely thinking of the Lord. We have to learn how to just be, and that comes by its devotion. We think about the things we're most attached to, right? That's what we think about. So we have to revive that attachment to Krishna. It has to be. Yeah. So that's the lesson here. It has to be it can't be casual. What was that? Casual means casualty. You heard that one before? Casual means casualty. So very casual in our Krishna consciousness. Well, guess what's going to happen? There could be a casualty there. Yeah. So you be very careful. Casual means casualty. Because Maya's just waiting to pick us off. She's just waiting. It's a test. So don't be casual. Casual about our chanting or whatever it may be. We have to all be very, very careful not to be casual, because casual means casualty. Like that. If we say Krishna consciousness, take it or leave it, well, Krishna's going to say, I'll take it or leave it for you too, because he's just reciprocating. Like that. So we know it's not take it or leave it. It's very, very incessantly thinking of the Lord, very, very serious. Krishna reciprocates with that. Oh, this is what you want? You get it. You want to go back home, back to Godhead? No problem. So, any other questions or comments? Balaram, Dravida Prabhu. He's deferring to you. Absolutely.
I hope it's a worthy question. I'm just thinking how, the process of prayer, which is one of the 9 processes, you're expressing a desire. It's like a certain formula. I once gave a little seminar with Raman Maharaj in Chicago on prayer, vandanam. And the first thing that intrigued me was that the same word is used for bowing down and praying, vandanam, right? Prayer is vandanam, but also over Vandeham Shikara. So, And you consider the Tulsi prayer we sing every morning. It's a prayer, you know. You start out Namo Namo, right? Offer obeisances. And then you're declaring that anyone who takes shelter of you has his wishes fulfilled. So you're saying that you have a power like that. And then you vocalize what your prayer is. You know, service of Radha Krishna, residence in Vrindavan, to always be able to see and to be, you know, like that. So I was thinking how, because you stressed, you know, the importance of constant remembrance, and that's kind of a plateau that you're meant to reach, that is meant to embody your remembering Krishna, and you're gradually understanding your own intimate relationship with him. This Swarup Siddhi, you know, that's supposed to work. But it's difficult, you know. After years and years, it's hard to overcome certain things that take your attention away, or that you know, interrupt your remembrance or whatever. So therefore, there's these prayers. Especially, I have in the Namashtaka by Rupa Goswami. There's 2 or 3 of them. He prays directly to the name, personified Krishna, to increase attraction for you. You know, there's one where he lists a whole different bunch. Agadamana, Yashodanandano, Nandasuno, Kamananayana, Gopi Chandra, Vrindavanendra, Pranata Karuna, this is my favorite one. Most merciful to the surrendered souls, Pranata Karuna. Krishna, of course. Yaneka Surupa, you have unlimited. Tvai mama ratir uchai vardatam namadeha. Please increase my attachment to you more and more. So you understand the name is Krishna personified. So while chanting the name, you're praying to the name. I remember this came out once we were doing one of these japa retreats. Pray to the name, through the name. You're praying, you're chanting the holy name, and you're praying to the name. Please let me have more and more attraction to you. Let me not forget you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So prayer is an important feature in all of this. We don't want to be enemies of Krishna. We don't want to go down that road. We want to be lovers of Krishna. So you have to pray like that. And that's why I gave you that little motto that I came up with. I beg to be blessed by the best of the blissful boys of Vrindavan Dham. I beg to be blessed by the best of the blissful boys of Vrindavan Dham. Everyone can memorize that. Chant it morning, noon, and evening.
Just a small thing about Putana representing the cheating guru. Also, she represents the cheating guru in the sense it could represent somebody who's in Krishna consciousness or who's practicing Krishna consciousness, because sometimes we see it as just referring to people who are out and out just cheating gurus, have nothing to do with Krishna consciousness. But it could refer to someone who's practicing Krishna consciousness who instructs their disciples above their particular qualification. Like, for example, classically, that devotees bring up, classically or regularly, you have people who are not qualified themselves, and they're instructing people who are also not qualified in terms of their eternal position in the spiritual world. Now, of course, so anyways, that's an example.
Okay, so we can, yes, you have a question? Go, microphone.
You didn't tell us about your scholarship.
No, I don't have time. I'll do another class. I'll tell you one thing after this question, though.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, in the purport where Srila Prabhupada says, Paundarike narke chaiva salve kamse cha rukmani. So, like, how does it means, like, Rukmani in this sloka means Rukmani Devi of...
No. No.
Oh. Rukmini. It's Rukmini.
Is it Rukma?
It's not Rukmini.
So,
I don't know what that is. She should know.
He wanted to marry?
or it may be Rukmi, the brother of... Right?
Rukmini. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
Rukmini. You know for absolutely sure it's not Rukmini. Okay. 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 Okay, I'll just tell you one thing about the trip. Okay? My first realization of my trip to Scotland to preach. Aye. You been there? You been up to Karuna Bhavan? And at Hoxaja, Prabhu? Wonderful devotee, Sankirtan devotee. But I was on the plane going there. I flew from here to Chicago. Everything seemed to be okay. I got to Chicago, it was a 2-hour delay for the plane because some weather in Newark. And that was directly from Chicago to Edinburgh, an 8-hour flight or something. So that was fun. 2-hour delay, just waiting for the flight, and got on. Anyways, I was on the flight and I'm sitting there. I got 2 people next to me and I was tired, just kind of fried, and I was just thinking, what's going on? And then all of a sudden they come serving the meals, So I'm sitting there in the aisle and then they're chicken or this, and the people next to me, and everyone's like, and I was like, God, I'm surrounded by these people and they're ordering, one abominable thing after the next, and they're all blah, blah, blah. And I was just thinking, what am I doing here? It's like, this is hell. This is horrible. And I just thought, wait a second, Prabhupada asked me to go and preach in Scotland. This is ecstatic, and this is what I'm doing, and it's worth whatever austerity may be there. Tired of delayed flight and this and that, and surrounded by all these. It's like, what's right next to me? They're eating dead animals and drinking, and it's like, this is a hellhole, But it's like, it's ecstatic, just going to be with the devotees and preach. So I was quite happy from that moment on. I had that realization. So even before I got to Scotland. And so, in other words, when we're always thinking about, we're representing Prabhupada and preaching, and whatever the difficulty may be in preaching or our service, it's remembering that's who we are and what we're supposed to be doing is the difficulties don't seem so bad. And just thinking about what Prabhupada went through, and so many devotees go through every single day to push on the Krishna conscious movement. So, anyways, that's the preface to my just talk about my.
You don't usually think about it, but
It probably happened to Prabhupada, not that I was sitting next to him, because he always had a servant or 2, But behind or in front, it's the same thing. This whole thing about smoking, they used to have smoking.
Yeah, they used to have so bad in those days, smoking on airplanes.
Prabhupada was in the first class area, and they were giving out drinks, and they gave Prabhupada, looked like it was just some juice or something. Prabhupada took a drink and passed it back to the devotees, and devotees drank and said, "This is not juice, this is wine." Prabhupada.
We can end here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.